Navigating today's real estate market can be tricky. Want to buy or sell a house, finance or insure a house, or stuck with a house and don't know what to do? Florida Talk Real Estate has been your local one-stop real estate shop since 2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim DePola and Johnny C. live on Real Radio.
Yes, that's right. It is Saturday morning. Thanks for being with us. 2 hours of infotainment is what we promise you every Saturday. It's Florida Talk Real Estate, and we bring it to you every Saturday here on Real Radio. Thanks for being with us on 92.1, 101.7, the old terrestrial radio. Maybe you are listening, well, I don't know, somewhere worldwide with your free download, your iHeartRadio app. Again, that is a free download. And we live stream for 2 hours of infotainment on a Saturday. You can join us on Facebook or YouTube. Look for Florida Talk Real Estate on both. Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook, Florida Talk Real Estate LLC on YouTube, live streaming on a Saturday as well. And always remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is a .com, your one-stop real estate shop. I'm your boy, Johnny C., your air traffic control. I got a toll-free number. You want to be part of the program with your questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate? Get involved with the conversation. You're welcome at 877-927-6969. The first voice you will hear is the melodious tones of our producer extraordinaire, Jimothy. Good morning, my friend.
Hello, and good morning.
Thank you for being with us as always. And then, of course, you make that call. We'll take that call. Again, 877-927-6969. Let's get your starting lineup on a Saturday morning. Always nice to say good morning to Ross Komarinetz with Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. Ross, how are you, my friend?
I am doing well. Good to see you, Johnny.
Nice to see you on a Saturday morning. Oh, Chipper, good to have you with us. And always great to have the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. There's our friend Mike Rauch. Speaking of Chipper.
Yeah.
That's why.
Hey, everybody. Good morning.
Yes. You're like, hey, I haven't seen you with a hat on in like forever. I was like, man, I guess it's probably been forever since I've not had a hat on, as I have my hat on. If you're streaming right now, you're going, yeah, Johnny always has a hat on.
He always has a hat on.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Nice to see you, Mike.
Wear many hats. Man of many hats.
Something like
that.
Yeah.
Good to see you, brother.
And
good morning.
Good morning. And our fearless leader, y'all, for 11 plus years now, I've been telling you, he runs a top producing Keller Williams team. At Keller Williams Innovations, you'll find the Florida Home Pros team and my guy, Jimmy D. There's Jim DePola. Jimmy D, how you be?
I'm doing good, Johnny. I'm doing good. I'm just checking on a little bit of technology, but I just finished up. We're all set and going on Facebook and YouTube, so check it out. Today's going to be a great show because we're going to be talking a lot about government programs that you can use, and we're going to be doing this over the next couple of weeks. So government programs that could save people thousands of dollars when they're buying a house, repairing a house, and even selling a house. We're going to be talking about this over time. Today, we're going to focus on a great buyers programs that Mike is going to talk to us about. We're going to talk to Ross about the insurance perspective of that home hardening program that they have out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also going to be talking, that's going to be pretty much a big chunk of the show today.
Well,
but
Florida Talk Socialism, huh?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
nice.
actually it is, right? We've used so many government programs throughout the years on this show very effectively for people. The most recent one we used recently was with Mike, where we had one of our buyers, Robert, buy a new townhome or buy a townhome for him and his family, where he used the Hometown Heroes program because he's a vet.
Beautiful.
Robert, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And he got roughly about $15,000 from the state of Florida to help buy his home, right?
Roughly, yeah.
Yep,
Yep.
right around that price. So
That's beautiful.
pretty nice, right?
Yeah.
15,000. I'd like somebody to give me 15,000 to help buy a home, right?
Go ahead. The line starts right over here.
Yep. And this program is going to be expanded soon, and we believe that people can get a max of up to $35,000 to help buy a home.
Man,
but there's little asterisks in there. So today, Mike and I are going to go over a little bit of the fine tuning details of some of the stuff going on. So I'm excited about that.
Is it like crazy? If you guys are going to go over the details, I can't imagine it's too much minutia then, huh?
No, it's not crazy.
Good.
It's just there's some math to be done, some thinking about. Like 35,000 sounds really great, but how do you get there? So we'll talk
Right.
about that.
Excellent.
Yep. And we're gonna talk about the home hardening program because I started reading that program a lot, Ross. And there were a couple things I didn't understand, like how it might affect really with insurance, with the insurance world, with the repairs for the home hardening program. So I figured we'd talk a little bit about that today too.
Sounds good.
It's going to be good stuff. Jimothy, is it Emily on the phone right now?
Emily and Abraham.
They're
are
both on the
yep,
phone.
they're
Okay,
on-
so Abraham, you're gonna have to hold a little bit. We're gonna
Okay.
get Emily on the phone first. Is that all right?
You want to go to
now.
her right now?
Yeah, if you
all
don't
right.
mind, Johnny.
Yeah, let's
that'd be
do
great.
that. Yeah. Emily, welcome. You're on Florida Talk Real Estate. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Excellent. Now, I know Emily's joining us to kind of get a little bit in depth about Red Day coming up, right, Jim?
That's correct, right, Emily?
Absolutely. We're excited about giving back to our community.
Yes. So let me introduce Emily. Emily is our market center administrator, which basically she's like the day-to-day operator in a way, to make sure our office of 250 agents roughly are smooth and organized and everybody doing everything complying with the laws
Oh, that doesn't sound
and
stressful at all.
regulations.
That
Oh,
doesn't-
no, not at all.
No,
She
Not at all.
she's
no. Mm-mm.
very involved in helping our agents grow their businesses. She's awesome on that. Super bubbly, happy person all the time.
Chipper,
So,
would you say chipper?
oh,
even?
more than chipper, chipper squared or cubed,
Awesome.
and just really happy to have to be part of the team of Keller Williams Innovations down in Boynton Beach.
Excellent.
So Emily, first of all, I wanted to say thank you so much for coming on the show. This is the first time she's been on our show, so I'm happy about that.
Oh, nice. Next time we'll actually put her on the air, I think, because she seems like she's going to do a great job.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to have her in studio
That's
at
a
some
joke,
point.
Emily. We are live on the radio, just so you know.
No pressure.
Yeah.
No
I
pressure
thought
at
you
all.
meant in studio. I was going along with it. I thought you may bring her in studio. So, Emily, could you explain what Red Day is, if you don't mind? Because this is actually now it's a worldwide event. I used to say nationwide event, but now it's worldwide.
Absolutely. So Keller Williams believes in giving back to the communities that we serve. So back in 2009, our company made the decision that we wanted to shut down operations for the entire organization nationwide and worldwide so that we could give back to the communities that we do business with every single day. And so across the nation, you have initiatives where they feed the homeless, we build homes, we, help the elderly. We've supported soup kitchens here locally. We've helped children who are going through cancer. So we really do a lot to really give back to the, organizations and, that serve our local area.
And am I right about this? That really the way that the Red Day started was a celebration of Mo Anderson's birthday. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely. So our chairman of the board, one of the founders of Keller Williams, and really a pivotal individual in helping us grow to who we are today as an organization for Keller Williams, her birthday is in May. And so customarily, that's why we do it on the second Thursday of every May to really commemorate her as being our culture pillar. And just making sure that we give back. So yes, it's because of her birthday that we started it.
She was such a bless you. She was such a important component to grow this company, which was based in Austin, Texas, in the late 1980s, and everybody just grew to love Mo. She's such a strong personality, and everybody wanted to do stuff for her birthday. And she kept saying, "Don't do anything for me. Do something to give back to the community. That would be a great birthday present."
Yeah.
So then they turned it into a national day for us, and we have about 200,000 agents across the country. And how many countries? I don't even know how many countries we're in now.
Well, we're represented in over 50 countries
That's
now.
what I thought. Yeah, I said
And growing.
50 countries and growing, guys. We are the number one brokerage in the country. So this day is really impactful. And, I've participated in the May Days, or the Red Days. I keep calling it May Day. The Red Days up in the other office where I worked at. And we've done all kinds of things. We've helped out with Habitat for Humanity projects. We've gone over to seniors' houses or disabled vets and spruced up their homes or did landscaping. We've worked with charities, all different type of regular organization charities, and just raise things. And I'm so excited that our office voted to select a charity that I love, which is called the Knights of Pythagoras Mentoring Network. Now, I know that's a big mouthful for people, but people call it KOP. KOP Mentoring Network. And this program was started by a very good friend of mine, C. Ron Allen, over 30 years ago. And that's when he was a newspaper reporter at the Sun Sentinel, and I was there too. And C-Ron has always been a big community person involved in community stuff, especially down in the Delray Boynton area. And he decided that he wanted to take kids of all walks of life and try to get them to experience things that they've never experienced before so they can open up their horizons. And in order to do all those cool things, they've gone to NASA. I know one time they went to Embry-Riddle to do flight simulation where the kids flew jets,
Cool.
right? When he first started out and they were on a shoestring budget, sometimes he would just take the kids from Atlantic Avenue and take them to the beach. And some of these kids had never been to the beach, and the beach was 4 miles away from where they lived,
Wow.
and they weren't even going there. And C-Ron was just trying to show these kids there's a whole big world out there, and that the world is your oyster. But the other thing that KOP is really strong about is discipline. It's also about being a productive citizen and not just taking things, but giving things back to the community. And one of the ways that they teach that is through a series of disciplinary kind of courses of marching, like marching bands or things like that, that they do. And also, if you're not getting good grades in school and you're not doing your stuff you're supposed to be doing at home, and you're not, the group KOP keeps tabs of these kids. And if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing outside of the program, they're not going to be getting involved with all the great stuff the program does. So I just love this program.
Yeah,
It's
they
just
hold them to a
awesome.
standard. That's great.
Yeah. So, Emily, how are we going to be able to help KOP Mentoring Network this year?
Well, I love that you asked that. We are actually doing a community drive for them on May 11th over at the Westchester Country Club. And that is located on 12250 Westchester Club Drive in Boynton Beach. We'll be out there with all of our team members collecting any school supplies that anyone wants to donate. Cases of water for the program. They're going to be hosting a summer program for as many young people as possible. Any type of gift cards that could help support the program, whether it's a gas card for their vans to transport the kids, any Visa gift cards or anything that can support the program at all, we'll be, so happy to take that. And then they requested outdoor games for their kids. So if you think about big Jenga games, big Connect 4 games, or anything that can help keep them busy when they're not doing these trips, that would be awesome. And then lastly, any snacks or any type of food that can support the program in terms of their meals, we're going to be collecting as well that's non-perishable.
Yes, all this is so important, and they've helped. This KOP Mentoring Network might be not a well-known charity except by local community people. This community has impacted and I can attest to this, thousands of families, not just the kids,
Right.
but the parents too.
Sure.
Over the past 35 years, thousands and thousands. There's very big support in the Delray Boynton Beach community, but it isn't just for Delray and Boynton Beach. There's a lot of kids coming in from Riviera and being involved. And the other thing is I know C-Ron would be okay talking about this. Any working professionals out there that would like to expose children to your profession, they would love to have you come in and be as a guest speaker to the group, just to talk about what it's like about working in your profession and how you get into it. The kids have a huge interest. You know what C-Ron's doing now, and they get all this donated support. One of the things they had last night is they have a podcast that the kids run themselves. It was on last night called Community Conversations, and they just bring in people from all different walks of life and professions or whatever the kids think is important. They bring them in, and the kids do all the technical setup for the podcast. It's a audio, just like us, video podcast with audio. And they do it on Facebook and YouTube and a couple other channels. And then the kids are the ones that do the interview, and the kids are ones that do the commercial breaks. They write the content. C-Ron is very hands off with these kids. He wants the kids to be empowered to do stuff. So if they make mistakes, that's okay.
That's how you learn.
That's how you learn.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it's so great. So once again, could you tell us the address of where it is and the time again?
Absolutely. We're going to be at the Westchester Country Club parking lot on May 11th, starting at 10 o'clock, and we're going to go to 12 noon. The address is 12250 Westchester Club Drive over in Boynton Beach. And so, again, we're going to be there from 10 a.m. to 12, taking any donations for this organization with our team at Keller Williams.
Okay, and you said May 11th and what time?
10 to 12.
10 to 12.
10 to 12.
a.m. to 12 noon.
Okay, on May 11th. I really hope you guys can come out and support. If you can't come out that day, but you want to support, all you got to do is just reach out to me, and I'll make sure that whatever you want to try to help the group with, I'm going to help you help the group. So all you got to do is call 888-973-7828. That's our hotline, 24/7. We have an operator answer the call. You say, hey, I want to help KOP. I want to help the charity out. And Jim, me personally, will give you a call back to work out all those details. Or you could just go to floridatalkrealestate.com and fill out one of the contact forms. And if you have a bigger idea and you're inspired by this, like, wow, this is something I really wanted to get involved in a group like this, and I have some ideas that I can contribute, then do a chat with Jim on me. Go to my website, floridatalkrealestate.com. On the upper page, it is live now. You can click on a button that says chat with Jim and book a 30-minute or less conversation with me, but they're all at 30 minutes. And then you could just give me a call, and I'll be out there and making sure that we get the help that C-Ron's group needs. Emily, I'd like you to stay on the phone just for a few more seconds, if you don't mind, because I have a special guest on top of you today. Is that all right?
Very cool.
Awesome. Hey, Jimothy, can you put on Abraham?
There you go. You got it. Abraham, welcome to Florida Talk Real Estate.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, Abraham. Now, this is so cool, this story. I'm getting tingles just talking about this right now. Abraham is one of the former graduates of the KOP Mentoring Network.
Awesome.
I met Abraham when he was, I think, 14 or 13 years old. Abraham, how old were you back then, do you think?
I was in middle school. I think in 7th grade.
Wow. And how old are you now?
Yeah. I'm 28.
Is that awesome, right? So this is a guy that was he isn't even a youngin', because C-Ron's been doing this program
30 years,
15 years before even Abraham went there. Now, Abraham, tell me how you got involved in the program, and please tell me if you know how it might have impacted your life.
I got involved in the program when I was in, I think, the 7th grade. Thing is, I didn't have all the best outgoing in school. I was the young man that usually get in trouble, usually be in fights, involved in things that a young man shouldn't be getting involved in.
Mm-hmm.
But then I met Mr. C-Ron. Then we had the first day we met, we had a long talk, and he a military guy, so when he talk, you have to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So we sit there, have that conversation, and we going through it. Then he said, you should try it. You don't have to, but think about it. And sure enough, the same week I went in, and the rest is history. And that program helped me a lot, because from there, I know how, I was a young man, but from there I know, okay, how to be a man, because my dad wasn't always around. I have my dad, but he was working so much, so I had less and less time because my dad would go to work before I went to school. So by the time he come back, I'll be sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then when I went to that program, you guys, Mr. C-Ron and Mr. Jim, when you come along, you guys was a father figure in my life that helped me, grow as a young man, as a person, do better, because I was in a bad kid. I was just making bad choices, but that program helped me, realize I can always do better. I can always elevate with whatever I'm doing. When I lived there, I was an A student when I left middle school, and I had all these the great high schools that I can go to with no problem, because I make a completely change, because from the program I know, okay, from the program help you be a leader, like for the show, amazing show, by the way, because I learned real estate when I was in middle school from you, Mr. Jim. I learned real estate. That's amazing. More the young kids should learn about real estate, because it's not too many shows, inform you about the good and bad with real estate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's amazing to learn about that at an early age. When you get to my age, you know exactly if you want to buy a house, okay, the way, the do's and the don'ts to go about it.
Yes, and I have a couple questions for you, Abraham. So when you went to after you left middle school and you went from, if you don't mind me sharing this story, I think, Abraham, you were the first person I met at that program, if I'm not mistaken. You had a math test coming up. Do you remember that you had a math test?
Yeah,
so
me and my twin sister.
Yeah. So I walk into the first time. I'm a little nervous because I'd never met the kids before, right? And I'm walking in, and the volunteers for KOP, they were like, "Are you a new volunteer?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And the staff immediately said, "Great." And they threw me in a chair in front of Abraham, and they said, "Abraham is failing out of math right now, and he's not going to graduate if he doesn't get like a B or higher on this test." And I was terrified because I'm not really great on math anyway. And then we sat down, and I don't know, we spent about an hour and a half, and I'm clumsily teaching him the math, but he seems like he was getting it. And I probably didn't come back for about 10 days after that. And then when I came in, the staff was like, "Did you hear about Abraham?" And I'm like, "No, what?" And he ended up getting an A on that test.
Nice.
And, that just shows me, what that shows me is how just a little bit of time, you just spend a little bit of time with kids and how much that they can grow from that time. And it was such an impact to my life too, to have that happen with Abraham. It was really cool.
That is cool. That's really, really cool. Abraham, I got a question for you, if you don't mind me asking.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you're a middle-aged kid, like you say, not necessarily a bad kid, but just not prone to making great decisions. And you said the conversation you had with Mr. Ceron was your big decision making there. Was there a point somewhere in there where you started like reaching out to your friends and going, "Hey, this is going to be life-changing for me, and you should consider," like, were you kind of reaching out to your network to say, "Hey, this is a really good moment"? Because I think that's a clarity, even for a young man, where you start reaching out to others to help them in that moment. That is really it speaks loudly. Did you kind of go down that road?
Yes, of course. It was me first, then I'll bring my twins. My twins, I have a sister. And I bring, I think, 5 more of the kids like me and the friends that was around me at the time, because I see the impact the program had on me. So I talked to them about it. Thank God they listened. They joined in, and we always doing great, because the kids, like I told you before, wasn't bad kids. We were just making bad choices. So we didn't have that male figure that would tell us, "Listen, you can do better than what you're doing now. You can go a different path instead of going that path." So
and the reason I ask, I think a lot of people might think about these kind of programs. I think kids there's maybe an impression that kids kind of go dragging their toes and kicking and screaming a little bit, but your impact was immediate to where you even went to your peers, like as a middle-aged kid, and said, "Hey, you got to look into this. This is going to change my life. This might change yours." Like I said, that's just loud.
And now, Abraham, what do you do professionally now? Now that you're out in the real world, what are you doing?
The real world, I already graduated at criminal justice. I graduated criminal justice, but I decided to go to different path and do trucking. It was whatever was going on with to me, I feel like it's not for people that really love it, but I think I just do it because I wanted that feeling of being part of the criminal justice system. So when I graduated from that, and I was interested on being a cop, so I'm like, okay, what else can I do? But then I forgot I should have get in touch with Mr. Jim about real estate. But yes, I went and do trucking.
Yes, so now you're a long haul trucker right now, right? That's what you do for a living, which is a pretty good career. You can make good money doing that.
They sure can.
Love that.
Yes, sir.
Love
Y-
that.
For
Yes,
sure.
sir. And I was just teaching Abraham about mortgage financing, Mike, to talk about that with him. He's not sure what state he wants to move in yet because now he's a long haul trucker. He doesn't know if Florida is going to be it, which is awesome. You know, he has the whole world in front of him right now.
Sure.
So
I love that.
I told him that Mike would definitely give him coaching on how to get a loan when he's ready. But also, we're going to try to see if we can get a student loan modification for him because he had some student loans relating to trucking school. And we're going to find out if we can have the law office of Paul A. Krasker help him out and get a reduction in his student loan payments,
It's a quick and painless process, so that's excellent.
which is one of the government programs we're going to be mentioning today
Awesome.
later on in the show. Abraham, my last thing I wanted to ask you could you tell me how much you feel that Mr. Ceron has impacted community? Because that is one special dude, that guy. He's just so giving.
Oh, yes, for sure. Mr. Ciron is amazing guy. You know, I learned a lot from Mr. Ciron. I learned a lot from you too, Mr. Jim. You know, it was just the two of you guys combined. It's just great. Bring young men. You know, you can the fact that you can change from worse to good is always a good thing. You know, the city of Delray Beach and Boynton Beach. I know he make a lot of impact. Like because. You know, you taking kids you don't know, you have no idea of the kid's background. You bring them in, you know, soon you come in the program, you feel like family. You feel like you belong here. So that was always the good thing about the program. Like it's fun. It's fun to be there and you learn. You know, there's this thing that you go there, it's bored there. You want to go to sleep, but there you learn because there's always something to do. And that's the amazing thing about it. And Mr. Ciron helped me a lot, you know, for someone that, you know, don't know you, don't have no idea where you come from. He'll bring you in, you know, feed you, give you clothes, and then take you to places that you never thought you would be at. So it's great.
Thank you so much, Abraham. I'm going to just ask you one last question in just 1 second. If you're hearing this and you want to be involved in helping these kids in this very special program, don't forget to come out to 12250 Westchester Club Drive in Boynton Beach on May 11th from 10 to 12. In the parking lot, we'll be there to pick up supplies. You could also call us at floridatalkrealestate.com. And if you feel like you can't get there that day, we'll make sure that we make it happen. Now, Abraham, could you just tell people from your perspective how important the support that the community gives Ceron impacts the kids?
Yes, it's really important because some of the kids that at home, basically because to be honest, it's hard to find kids that get in everything, you know, acting bad. You know, kids that don't have much, they sometimes feel like the world is giving up on them. But when they find a group that can help them, you know, especially with clothing, with feeding, that's two most important thing in the kid life and, you know, in a child life.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they don't have a male figure around to help them grow mentally and physically, you know. So when that program help and the donation and the help always help. No, it don't help Mr. Ceron. It help the kids because, you know what I'm saying? The kids need that.
Yes.
You know, and a kid like, I know when I was a kid, I needed that. I needed somewhere I can go and feel relaxed and feel that, okay, yeah, I can get help if I need the help. So yeah, what the donation always help because it all go to the kids, and it's always good to help kids, you know, elevate in every type of way you can. But you know what I'm saying, especially clothing is an important thing because, you know, when as a kid, I know when I have fresh clothes, fresh shoes, I will not get in trouble in school. I go to school, I know I'm fresh, and you know, so that always a good thing. So, but me myself, if like you said, if I can help, if I can come out, you know what I'm saying, whatever day, I'll try my best to come out. You know, if I have to, you know, put my truck down somewhere and then come out, I'll come out because I know it helped me a lot. I know that the help, the donation you guys used to give when I was a young boy, and Daddy still helped me. So I want to give back. I want to come out and help any way I can, because it's amazing and it's important to the kids.
Thank you, Abraham. So when I first met you, you were a young kid, and now you're a young gentleman.
That's great.
And I just think it's great to see all the changes that you have. I'm so proud of you in your professional career, and I wish you many years of happiness ahead, and I'll be there for you if you ever need me. And Emily, can you just one more time just explain how people can help out the charity?
Absolutely. So we're going to be on May 11th from 10 a.m. until 12 noon at the Westchester Country Club parking lot. And that is located 12250 Westchester Club Drive. Bring, cases of water. We're taking food donations, gift cards for the program, school supplies, games, anything that you could support this program with. We will be collecting it in our team.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a happy weekend.
We appreciate it.
Thank you,
Have a great day.
Okay.
Abraham
Bye-bye.
and Emily, thank you very much for being with us. Jim, you may not know the answer to this, but you can probably get us an answer. Does the KOP mentoring network, thank you. I was going to try to ram it all together. I was going to butcher it. Do they get deals? If we give cash, do they get a bigger bang for our buck than necessarily we would? Would I be better off giving them money versus going to buy stuff?
Well, actually, yes. I've seen that in the past where they've pooled the money together and then they can go to the place they need to go and they get huge discounts. So cash would be king.
Yeah.
But if people don't want to give cash because they don't know about the charity yet or anything and they want to come in with other stuff, there's no problem. This program's been around forever. You know that the Florida Talk Real Estate crew isn't going to be putting stuff on unless it's super legit.
But if I'm going to go spend $50-$100 on some food and they can get more bang for the buck than I can, it's probably better. It's easier and better served.
It's kind of like the South Florida Feeding America, Feeding South Florida program. They can get way better deals if they just had cash than if they went to the local grocery stores to pick this stuff up.
All right. So reach out if you're interested in helping out. You can get more information on Facebook. Of course, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. You got the hotline. You got the chat with Jim feature. And of course, the contact sheet. So lots of ways to get in touch with Florida Talk Real Estate. And if it is involved with the KLP Mentoring Network, don't be shy. Jim can help you out. Of course, we'd love to see you out there on May 11th between 10 and 12, the Westchester Country Club parking lot in Boynton Beach, 12250 Westchester Club Drive. Again, May 11th. We'll keep reminding you. What do we got coming up?
We're going to, on the flip side, we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL draft. I know that's unusual for us, but we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL draft. I'm wearing my Renegade shirt, my Renegade sports shirt, sports and entertainment. I own part of that sports agency. We have 4 guys today that we are hoping are going to be picked up in today's NFL draft. So we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Very nice.
And it's also a little bit about giving because I sponsored one of those guys to get into the NFL draft.
Excellent. Lots of information coming at you. We still got another hour and a half. 2 hours of infotainment is what we bring you every Saturday. Of course, if you want to be a part of the show, go ahead and dial up 877-927-6969. You got questions, comments, concerns between Jim, Mike Rauch, and Ross Komarinetz in the building here. We got the professionals handle so much. And of course, if we can't get you the answer on air, we'll get it for you off air. Florida Talk Real Estate is a .com, your one-stop real estate shop. Know it, use it, love it, and share it. 4 minutes from now, we're back at it. Great to have you with us on a Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate, right here. It's Real Radio.
We're everywhere you need to be. Find your favorite show at realradio921.com.
From the Gordon and Partners Weather Center. Have you or a loved one been injured through no fault of your own? Call 561-333-3333 or go to fortheinjured.com.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Collins with CBS 12 News. After a quiet start to the day, temperatures warmed quickly this morning with afternoon highs in the middle and upper 80s and the chance for more afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Could see the threat for an isolated severe storm into the evening, then cloudy and muggy tonight with storms returning early on Sunday.
This report is sponsored by Fresh from Florida.
I'm back, and look at all the Fresh from Florida produce I brought home.
Fresh from Florida produce is fresh as fresh can get.
It's refreshing to know that locally grown Fresh from Florida produce is available year-round.
Well, that's a breath of fresh air.
Look for Fresh from Florida where you shop.
From the Florida Department of Agriculture.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
This is Real Radio 92.1 and 101.7. Real talk for the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Yeah, that's it. Toll free, 877-927-6969. Should you choose to be on the radio with your questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate, be part of the program, well, that's a great way to do it. Probably the only way, actually, to do it. 877-927-6969. If you're not comfortable on the radio, always remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. You got the contact sheet, the hotline at 888-973-7828. New feature on there, chat with Jim. You get to determine which part of his calendar you want to carve out for you to chat with him. And you can reach out to the entire team, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, on Facebook and YouTube as well, Florida Talk Real Estate. We stream live on a Saturday. Great to have you with us. I'm Johnny C. Jimothy, our producer extraordinaire. How are you, my friend?
Hello, hello, and good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning to you. Ross Komarinetz with Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach is here. Hey, Ross.
Buenos dias, everyone.
Good morning to you. Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Good morning.
Guten Morgen.
No pressure, Jim.
Nice.
There's our fearless leader. I've been telling you for 11 plus years. He runs the top producing Keller Williams team. It's Keller Williams Innovations, the Florida Home Pros team. Jimmy D, Jim DePola, how you be?
Happy South Florida, everybody.
All right.
That's my language. That's my language. Just want to do a shout out to Joyce, a big fan of our show. Happens to be related to Johnny.
Mama C.
Mamacita. Happy birthday. She's up in St. Augustine, my favorite city in Florida. I love St. Augustine. When I was younger, my favorite city was Key West, but I don't party as much as anymore. So St. Augustine's more my lifestyle now. So
beautiful area.
I love that area. 500-year-old city, not in the Northeast. That's pretty amazing to me. Yeah. So I love it.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Mom.
So happy birthday. I hope you're having a great time up there. And I wanted to do some shout outs to some NBA guys, NFL guys that we're hoping that are going to end up making teams today. I know a lot of people know and some people don't, but besides owning the Florida Home Pros with Keller Williams Innovations, where I'm the team lead for our team, I also am a co-owner of Renegade Sports and Entertainment. And we've been around for about 3 years now. We merged recently with Jarrett's group. Jarrett Perry from Perry Group CPA has merged with Renegade last year to become Renegade Sports. And this year we have 4 guys in the draft, the NBA draft.
NFL.
Did I say NBA again?
Sorry.
3 times.
Well, because I'm going to mention Keon Ellis right now. That's why I'm talking about the NBA. So last year, during the NBA draft, I personally sponsored for an NBA draft party Keon Ellis. Keon was from a local boy from Eustis, Florida, and went to Alabama. And then he got picked up last year by the Sacramento Kings, had a really spectacular G League season. And because he didn't come in. I love this part. I'm learning all this stuff. Now, you know this, Johnny. Maybe you guys all know it too, but I'm not a big sports guy. I just like watching these young kids. It's kind of like what we were talking about with the charity. We're watching these young kids who have spent their whole life toiling and working towards this moment of trying to get into pro sports. And to me, it's just fascinating and inspiring to watch these kids like go for it all and go, for the big gold ring. And what ended up happening last year, we sponsored Keon. He went to Sacramento. He got picked up for the G League as a 2-way. And because he was a preferred free agent and didn't get into the draft, he only had a 1-year contract. So he's going to be going for his second contract this coming year. Nice. And if Sacramento doesn't pick him up, I'm hearing that we have 3 or 4 other teams that might be interested in him. I can't wait till one of our NBA players ends up with the Heat. It hasn't happened yet. Maybe it'll be Keon. I don't know.
Go Heaters.
But Keon was great, and we had his NBA draft party last year. This year, I'm sponsoring Jaleel Billingsley from Chicago. Jaleel is a tight end. He did really well in his pro day. I think he did a 4.48 in the 40. Not too bad. And we sponsored a Airbnb up there in Chicago, and he's enjoying it. He got there last night. He'll be watching the draft tonight with his family and his girlfriend, and fingers crossed. And I can't wait to see good results from him. Paul Aloisi, who is the agent that's running all these guys for us at Renegade Sports and the founder of Renegade Sports, is saying that he expects great things to happen for Jaleel. So nice. We're hoping that today is going to be a very exciting day for him. Also, we have some other people. So we have Jamal Woods. He's a defensive end from Illinois. I'm not getting used to these names, the names of the teams, because like I said, I'm not that into sports, but I didn't know that Illinois was the fighting Illini.
Illini.
Yeah, you got it.
I didn't know what it was. What is it? It's a lot.
You shouldn't have said anything.
Illini. What the hell?
Illini.
What the hell is an Illini?
Say Illini.
Illini. That's what I thought, right?
Yeah,
Illini.
That's what it is. No, it's Illini.
What's it? What is it really?
Illini.
What did I say? Illini. Oh, okay. It's Illini. What's an Illini? I know it had something to do with Illinois.
Somebody from Illinois.
Yeah, Illini.
Is that kind of like a little Putian or whatever, like in the you know what I'm talking about? The big guy that little Putians or whatever.
Are you trying to say Putin?
No, the guy the giant guy that wakes up in a little world and they tie him up and everything, and they're little Putians or whatever. Never mind. I guess I'm having a Greek moment here, but I never heard it. Illini
I
or
can't think
Illini.
the name of that story.
There's another team though that I'm going to bring up in a second. So anyway, Jamal Woods, we got him on the draft today. Defensive end from
Fighting
Illinois.
Illini. Yeah.
From Illinois. I hope he does awesome today. We also have Rashawn Yates. He's a defensive end. He's another local guy. He Port St. Lucie.
Right.
Rashawn Yates is from PSL.
Represent.
And he was at the USF South Florida Bulls. So he's a defensive end. We hear good things about him. And last but definitely not least, because he's another
that was awesome redundancy, by the way.
Another what is
the
that?
USF South Florida
I
Bulls.
know. I
Good,
know.
yeah.
I'm not as. That's why I tell you when we do the sports show, I'm not going on air. I'm going to go behind the scenes. Maybe I should be on air just for the jokes.
Should be highlighted.
Yeah, maybe I should be the dummy on the show, which isn't probably where I am right now on this show. So the last guy we have is Adrian Hope. He is a defensive end. He also is from Ocala, so we got a lot of Florida boys here. Okay, I forgot to mention one. Ross is over here looking at me. I wonder if he knows. You know what? I missed one.
You did the top one.
Yeah, I missed the top one, but I wanted to say Adrian Hope. What the heck is a Chanticleer?
I don't know what a
Coastal Carolina's Chanticleers is the name of their football team. What's a Chanticleer?
I know.
Mike is looking it up.
I'm going to look it up.
And then last but not least at all, and I'm sorry, he was the first one and I skipped over it, but Pokey Wilson from FSU, wide receiver, had a pretty good year last year, expecting to do very well this year. We know somebody's going to be picking up Pokey.
So rooster.
Huh?
It's a rooster.
It's a rooster?
A proud and fierce rooster.
Yeah. Well,
according to Mr. Google, anyway. What'd you find, Mike?
Chanticleer is known around the world as an orchestra of voices. So maybe
but if you go
a singing group?
to Coastal Carolina, Chanticleer, it says it's a proud and fierce rooster.
Yeah.
Who dominates the barnyard.
I don't know if anybody's gone up against roosters before, but I have two in my lifetime, and I've lost both times. So roosters could be bad, you know what.
So it must be like between the Carolinas, like a real deep entrenched cockfighting area.
Right? Yeah.
Because you have the South Carolina Gamecocks
there is,
and the Chanticleers. So that's two pretty good sized universities that have that reference
right by
sighting.
there. Yeah.
So there must be some deep rooted history of cockfighting through there.
I should know that because I actually covered cockfighting down here in South Florida when I was a newspaper reporter. The illegal rings, and it was really fascinating.
That was back in his Key West days.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm sure, yeah. And
he had to retire to St. Augustine.
Yeah,
it's a little more speed.
It's a real thing,
and
it's pretty amazing how technical the technical gadgets they use with these birds to get them to fight for training.
Sure. Really? Oh, wow.
And then they have spurs that they put on them.
Yeah, they put them on their feet.
Yeah, they put them on the feet to make them be able to slice better. And they have these special
Freddy
spurs.
Krueger knives.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. They look like exactly, Johnny. They look like that's a great way to describe it. Freddy Krueger knives on the back on their legs, and they and they have different size and different lengths. And then they've got the hoods to put over their faces, as sun type, right, to protect their eyes while they're training and stuff.
Huh.
It's just pretty crazy. And people treat those animals when they're performing, when they're athletes, they treat them like they're gold until they die, then they don't. Then, it becomes chicken dinner, winter chicken dinner.
Yeah, sounds pretty humane though, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. They don't the people involved in it.
That was
most
sarcasm
of them,
for those.
I know it's total sarcasm.
I gotta make sure because I don't know that everybody picks up on it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Nowadays,
the culture was most of it was Cuban, right? A lot of the people I met were of Cuban origin, and Cuba does this a lot down there. But it's also a big Latin America thing, South America, Central America.
Cultural aspect.
It is a cultural aspect thing. And some people think it's okay. And I actually covered the illegal places. So I didn't just meet the people at their houses with all their roosters and going over everything. I also went to the illegal rings.
The fighting
pins? Yeah, watching those.
Did you win anything?
No, I didn't. I didn't gamble at all. But I'm telling you, it was dangerous. It was kind of dangerous. A lot of drinking, a lot of weapons.
You weren't tempted to gamble even a little bit?
It was all in Spanish, and back then I didn't have any Spanish
so you weren't
at all.
to
I didn't have
Opequito?
Mike around with. Can you imagine me running around trying to use my Spanish and being a undercover reporter. I was undercover.
Right.
Oh, that's why
so
you
like,
infiltrating.
Yeah, I was infiltrating it. Yeah, because it was an illegal ring.
You didn't stand out at all.
And they had like they had like this underground system to let you know where the event was going to be that night, and then they'd break it down and move to another spot for the next one.
What was
so
your
they
cover
never
name?
get caught. I didn't have a cover name. I don't even know how I got it.
He
I was
wanted
such a
everybody
great
to
go.
call him Dragon.
I don't know.
Did you have to like bring like a dummy rooster so that they would like, let you in?
Yeah.
And pet it like you're scouting it out.
Call me Chanticleer.
I know. But
obviously there's some history of that in the Carolinas. So maybe it's I'm sure there's like a natural origin too for roosters going at each other. So it could, I'm sure people probably saw that.
Why not make a little money on it?
Yeah.
Start raising them up.
They're prone to not care for each other, so might as well.
So
profit off it.
Yeah.
So look at us. Another thing you learned today. Chanticleer is what a Chanticleer is. And we learned that there's two definitions for it. That's pretty amazing.
Well, yeah, I guess Ross is obviously is right because it makes sense.
Yeah.
But apparently there's a men's group that's also Jim, it's Gulliver's Travels.
Gulliver's Travels. But what's the name of the little people? They were Lilliputians or Lilliputians or something.
I'll keep looking.
Yeah. But anyway, so
it's a line night.
So congratulations to everybody. By the end of the night, I know that Paul Aloisi is going to be working very, very late tonight because anybody that doesn't get in the draft, we know that some of these guys are going to definitely go preferred free agent like Keon did.
Yeah, so obviously everybody wants to hear their name, right? You do. I mean, that's the dream. To hear your name. I guess the dream is to walk the stage, get the hug with the commissioner, hold your jersey. That's the real dream, the first round dream.
Yeah.
But there were a couple of guys that stuck around from night one and still, well, at least one that walked the stage night two. They're like, I still want my experience,
Yeah.
But to even get your name mentioned in the latter rounds, you've been drafted.
It's so hard.
There's so many guys that get picked late, that get Hall of Fame careers, walk on, undrafted free agents that can become literal household names. Like just because they don't find you in the draft doesn't mean that your career can't be stellar. So I hope these guys don't totally get down on themselves that they don't hear their name.
And the thing that we understand, me and Jared and Paul understand very well is that even if these guys only have a 2 or 3 year career, which is the average football career is 3 years and that's it, right?
That's it.
So by 24, 25, a lot of these kids, that's it. The game's over, right?
Yeah, and I know you hear like Brady, 16, 17. You hear these guys with these lengthy careers. The average is, like you said, 3 years.
Yeah.
Not for long.
So the bottom line is that you have to prepare for life after football or after sports, let's say, right? So one of the things that makes Renegade Sports different, and this is why I bought into the company, is that we all believe in trying to help all the athletes get their dreams made, but at the same time, set them up for the future no matter what happens. Don't go squandering your money on bling bling, in your first year contract. There was a very good video that was out, I saw on TikTok-y thing or whatever, about Shaq, right? And Shaq talked about his first year that he got into the league and he got $20 million advance, right? Or, up front. And he said that he went out and bought his mom a $5 million property, bought a bunch of cars, bought something for himself, didn't understand that the 20 million wasn't net, it was gross. Had to pay agent fees, had to pay taxes, which was the big thing, but also the agent fees take out and management fees, they take out a chunk. He said that his accountant, a month or two after he got his big payday, said, "You're broke.
You have no money.
You don't have any money anymore," right? And then he learned. He's like, I'm not doing this anymore. My basketball money is money I put in the bank. If I want to go spend bling bling money, that's going to be on my endorsement deals and stuff that I make on the outside.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Shaq is a very smart business guy, right? He knows he uses his money very wisely to do business. I'm very impressed with people like him. That know how to use the money and leverage it. One of Jared's guys, I don't want to mention him on the name, he was a former football player. He was only in the league 3 years or so, wasn't super big time, but was pretty well known in college. And his brother was big time NFL, right? And but he was smart with his money. And through advice through Jared and other people, he was able to take the money he was making from football and leverage it and leverage it and leverage it now. And now he's pretty much independently wealthy. He has his money working for him when I mean independently wealthy, but he didn't come with the $20 million upfront payday.
Right.
You know, he was just a regular guy in the trenches, but he's made a really good life for him. And he isn't even, I think he's barely 30 years old, and he's got a great wife and family, and everything's going great. And that's what Renegade Sports want to us. That's real success for the athletes.
Sure.
Is the life. And that's what we try to do. So anyway, you guys rock. And I'm very impressed with all the hard work you did to get there, and can't wait until we see the results tonight. So thanks about that.
And unfortunately, the work has just begun.
Oh yeah, this is just now now they're in a whole different world after this, completely different. So.
Yeah, so much to achieve where you're at now, but boy, now you got to really dig in. But congratulations is right. You hear your name today, man. What a great moment!
It's going to be an awesome moment. Yeah. And May 13th, if everything goes well, we're going to have Paul Aloisi and Jarrett on the show. Sweet. We're going to be talking about the results and some insider stuff about what happens with that. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. That'll be fun.
Mike, I know. Let me ask you this, Jimothy. I know that we're running late on time right now. Do we have to do?
Yeah, you're on time.
Okay. I'll tell you what. Let's just talk about interest rates real quick, Mike. Because at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock, what I'd like to do is I want to talk about government like we promised, the government programs people can use. This week we're going to talk about buy a house and repair a house with Ross, buy a house with Mike, and then we're going to be talking about other programs throughout the next couple of weeks. But before that, Mike, did you check to see what the Freddie Mac interest rates were this week? Do you know if it went up or down? I didn't have time to do that this week.
Yeah, it looks like it's slightly up.
What did it
1
say?
week change 0.04. So we're at the 6.43. It was 6.39 last week.
Okay, so what that tells me is, okay.
You did this, Jim, because 2 weeks ago, I wasn't on last week, but 2 weeks ago, Jim said we've been on a
5 week run.
5 week, where rates have been going down. And I don't think he knocked on wood at the time or anything, Johnny. And all of a sudden, right, that next week, rates went up again.
Yep.
And now we're on a
2 weeks. I think it's 2 weeks in a row.
2 week increase,
which is
Thanks,
exactly
Jim.
what
Good
we
job,
exactly. Thank you, very guys. I take credit for all of it. So what's happened is just like in January, just like we've been predicting on the show for quite a while, or reporting for quite a while. This has been very choppy waters. We go up a few weeks, we go down a few weeks, we go up a few weeks, we go down a few weeks, but the range is very narrow. So we started the year at 648. Now here we are at almost the end of April, almost 1/3 of the year away, over, and we're at 6.42. So we're kind of flat. We've been between 6.25, 6.5. Wouldn't you say that's true, Mike? For pretty much this year.
Yeah, even going back, like we're in the zone that started around September of last year. So we kind of and there's been some bigger ups and downs.
November 8th was the big week because we hit 708 for the second time last year. So after November is where it started settling down. We had it. It was settling down a little bit.
September is when we were in this mid-6 range.
Oh
right?
yeah,
so
the last time
it had climbed there, and like mid-September we kind of hit that, and then it went up and then came back down. And so it's just if the prediction, Johnny, is that rates are going up and down week over week, right? Which is pretty much day over day, right? They're going up and down slightly, right? No huge changes. We're definitely not on like a 1% increase by this time next month or something like that. So it's just kind of been up and down based on global economy, local economy.
It's been kind of nice for the buyers now, even though the interest rates are much higher than they were when we started in January 22, okay, which is a long time ago now. January 22 is way in our rear mirror. You shouldn't be thinking about those rates anymore because it's just not realistic.
Nope.
But what's been nice about this part of the year from January until now, we haven't seen massive price increases like we did last year twice. We saw super fast, massive interest bumps, which were actually affecting our buyers of whether they could close deals or not, because the ones that were up at the upper price point, a 0.5 point or 3/4 point change in the interest rate might have blown them out of their
changes the
purchasing
qualifying
power.
payment. Yeah, I mean, basically you can buy less house
Yeah.
if the rate goes up.
So this year, actually, for buyers, as long as you can afford to buy a house right now at the 6.5% interest rate, you didn't really have that worry, and you have more inventory than ever before. So being a buyer right now is not bad, even though that some people think it might not be optimal. It really is not in a bad situation right now. So if you're thinking about buying a house or you're not sure and you want to find out what's going on, we're one phone call away. All you got to do is reach out to us, Johnny.
FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. It is important to not play the guessing game. Know your numbers, know what's realistic, and then go from there. There's only one way to really get locked tight, and that's to go to the pros. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. That's what I would do if I was you. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com gives you access to the entire team. It's your one-stop real estate shop. Find them on Facebook and YouTube as well, Florida Talk Real Estate. But that .com, super important. Access to the entire team. Pros, they work cohesively together. And again, you never know until you know. The numbers are really important when it comes to buying your home. So get your numbers, understand where you stand, and understand what maybe you need to do if you're not in position. But you got to be in position. You got to know your numbers first and foremost. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Let's do this quick little reset. We come back, we're going to talk about down payment assistance programs, lots of opportunities, government programs that can be helping you out big time. And if you want to join the program, if you want to be part of this conversation, you got questions with what we're talking about, dial it up, 877-927-6969. I'll give it to you again 4 minutes from now when we're back. It's Florida Talk Real Estate right here on Real Radio.
When you give up trying to teach your parents how to use their smart speaker and take it home, tell your smart device to play Real Radio 92.1 on iHeartRadio.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. That's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because FloridaTalkRealEstate.com has you covered. That's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Welcome back to Florida Talk Real Estate. Thank you so much for joining us here on a Saturday. I'm just going to bump here a little bit for Johnny until he gets back in the seat. Welcome back to the show. Hey, Johnny, how are you, buddy?
So question for you real quick. I know this is not Florida Talk Real Estate related. Where do you guys get your water in this building now? The faucet doesn't work. The water dispenser doesn't work.
The faucet doesn't work?
Well, the water fountain.
Oh, yeah. I don't think any of those work anymore.
None of those work. Yeah.
Out of the sink is
So
what
a
I
straight
get
sink?
most
All
of my
right.
water.
All the light bulbs don't work in the studio.
It's BYOW.
I knew I was running close. I was like, well, this water doesn't work. Let me try
Look at
this
Ross.
one.
Look
Try
at
this
Ross.
one. Yeah,
Ross has
water.
three
How
vessels.
hydrated I am.
The sales kitchen has a water dispenser. I think it's still filtered, too.
Oh, the important.
There's a code. There's a code, though.
Important. Yeah, I can't
You
get
don't
over
have the
there.
code.
That's the important side of the building. All right. Well, thank you, Jimothy, for
I
being
do
there
believe,
as I was hunting for water. So just the regular sink.
yes.
Okay. All
That's
right.
what I use over
You're more
here.
than welcome.
I'll
to
do
sip
it.
this
Thank
water
you.
if want.
Thank you very much. Johnny C, that's me. The one disappointing the heck out of me today on my water choices. That's Jimothy.
Good morning. And I mean, if you look, it hasn't done anything to me.
No,
I'm
no.
just fine.
No, why do you have like a blue tint
this
to your
little,
skin?
this little twitch is nothing.
The one who's going to share his water. Thank you very much. Ross Komarinetz, Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning to you.
Hot Ross.
I don't know who did that.
Haven't heard that one in a while.
It's been
That's
a
cool.
minute. Yeah, that's a throwback. If you want to call him Hot Ross, you're more than welcome to. He's a fan of that. Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Hello, my friend.
Good morning.
Where's
Good
your
morning.
water? Where's your water?
Where's my tagline? Do I have something? Mike.
Oh, yeah, he does. He has the Mike. We haven't heard that one in a while.
Mike.
Nice.
That's better.
That one's better. I like that one. Can I have a Ross instead?
All right, we'll work on that.
Maybe flop it out for Hot Mike.
I mean, listen, Ross is a little embarrassed by that, but holy cow, who else has a Franny drop like that? Like, it's Franny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who
Franny.
else has a Franny drop like that? Nobody. Ross, come on.
I'm honored.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Franny.
Yeah.
Thank you, Franny.
Our fearless leader, that's Jim DePola. I've told you for 11 plus years now, he runs a top producing Keller Williams team, Keller Williams Innovations, the Florida Home Pros team. That's where you'll find them. Jimmy D, how you be?
I'm doing good. You just guys brought me back memory. Remember the 360 board up in the PSL studio?
Sure.
I wanted to use that so bad when I was on the show. I think we were up there recording for 4 years or 5 years. I don't remember how long we were up there for, but we're up there a bunch of years. And I wanted to use that 360 so bad, and everybody made sure that I did not touch that machine at all. But remember back then, everybody remembered, what was it? Bank 1, line 2. Remember there were numbers?
There were certain ones, yeah.
Yeah, but it was
the
like,
audience learned what bank and what number a certain drop was.
and there was this one guy that knew every single bank on it.
Yeah.
How did he know that?
So during the Love Doctors charity one year,
Uh-huh.
they actually auctioned off a list of the whole 360.
Oh,
and I think that guy
was the
ended
guy
up with
that
it.
won it.
So he knew every button on every
Ah.
bank. Yeah, I'm pretty certain he was the guy that won it.
That's a good idea.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he could just call up and be like, let me hear bank 4, track 12.
Yeah,
And
that's
he would
exactly
know
what
what
he's
was
doing.
coming.
He knew
right.
it was going to be.
And this is what it is.
Jim.
There it is. It's you, see?
There it goes. That is so cool. That is so cool. So we promised that, there's so many government programs out there right now. So we figured that, one of the things we like doing is giving people the knowledge and the power of understanding what's going on and to see tools that they might be able to use that they don't know about. Like most people know that there's down payment assistance program, which we're going to talk about today. But the home hardening program to help strengthen your house and toughen up your house for hurricanes is a big thing, and a lot of people are talking about it. There was over 150,000 people applied for that program. so far, but they say that there's a lot more funds available to keep that program going. So we're going to talk about that later today. There's even a program that you can use to help sell your house, right? Which is basically assumable mortgages. So when I call it a government program, they're in certain mortgages are assumable, and you could take those low interest rates that you had when you secured your mortgage and pass it on to your new buyer, which can actually help you as a seller make more money on your house by having your buyer be able to afford more with the lower interest rate, right?
Yeah.
So there's even a program for that. But today, what we're going to focus on is the program that everybody's talking about, or programs that everybody's talking about, which is we always call it in the industry DPA, which stands for Down Payment Assistance Programs. So, Mike, can you kind of give us a little bit of overview, and then we're going to focus on one of those programs today, and then throughout the next couple of weeks, we're going to go over all these programs so people can have an idea of what works for them and what's available out there.
Yeah. So down payment assistance is kind of self-explanatory, right? It's assistance with the down payment, but also, so it's basically cash, right? It's a grant or some sort of cash influx from the government entity, and it helps you cover the cost of buying a home, right? So most loans require some level of down payment as a percentage of the purchase price. And then there's also closing costs on top of the down payment requirement. So those are things like, the fees for your lender, the fees for the title company, the settlement company that's closing, the government fees, the taxes involved. So you have down payment and closing costs that are associated when you buy a home. And so the down payment assistance is basically, here's some money to help get you over the hump. I think what they found through the years is the kind of the factors for getting approved for a loan are credit, debt to income, right? So what payment you qualify for, and then how much cash you got is going to determine what type of loan is going to work best for you. And so, especially when you're in a affordability, the difficult affordability zone as far as just housing prices in general, it's hard, and rental, prices, it's hard to save money, and you need thousands and thousands of dollars in order to buy a home. And so, traditionally people are saving the old fashioned way, right? Put away as much as you can. Sometimes there are family members that can get help. Traditionally, a part of negotiating a contract, Jim, you try and get some money out of the seller if you can, some sort of seller credit. But it's still difficult to put the funds together that are required to buy a home. And so down payment assistance has really been helpful for many, many people through the years, and just getting them over that last hump, right? Their credit is right, their income is good, their debt's low, and they just can't put the funds together. So that's where these programs really come in to help,
And the one that's being used, I don't want to say the most, but the one that is most talked about right now has been the Florida Hometown Heroes program.
Yeah.
Correct. And that is going to be expanded, we hope, soon, maybe coming out this summer in just a month or two.
Yeah. So last year, they funded the Hometown Heroes was specific. Let's set it up.
Sure.
So Hometown Heroes is down payment assistance, and it is, instead of being a fixed amount, it's up to 5% of the loan amount. So if you borrow $100,000 as your loan amount, you can get $5,000 of assistance. If you borrow 200, 10,000, 300,000, 15, so on and so forth.
Okay.
So it
Up
was
to 35.
It's up to 25 right
Up to
now. But
25.
one of the things that they expanded was the max. Okay. So it's been one of those that it basically the most amount that you can get, right? The other programs are something like 10,000 or maybe 7,500. So this one allows you, if you're getting a big enough loan, to exceed those other programs. So it's been helpful in that it's the most amount of money available. And it's called Hometown Heroes because it was for kind of like the traditional hometown hero is your front line, police, fire, education, teachers, and medical. And that's kind of like the overall categories, but it was expanded. There was something like, 100 professions, right? In those categories, things you wouldn't traditionally think about. And so that was the program last year, and they funded it with $100 million. And I think last time I looked, 20 million or so was left, and we're coming up on the year. So what they did recently is they wrote into law, right? They put it into the Florida books, whatever those are
Right.
called.
The law was called the Live Local
the
law.
Live Local Act. And one of the things in that law was expansion of the Hometown Heroes program. So they codified it. They put it into law. Number one, they funded another $100 million. And the law reads that it's being opened up to all Florida residents. So you no longer have to have a qualifying profession. You simply have to reside and work in Florida, right? For a Florida-based job, working full-time. Which is pretty amazing news. And that it has generated a lot of buzz because now it's open to everybody, right? Like that there's still some caveats, right? First-time home buyers, you haven't owned a home in the most recent 3 years, you work full-time in a Florida-based occupation, and you're going to live in the home, right? It's for primary home buyers. So, but it's a lot more people who are eligible than it was when it was Hometown Heroes, specifically profession-based. So it's really generated a lot of buzz because how many people do I talk to who where cash is the challenge, right? Like how much money do you have, right? Like that's one of the things. So, well, we've got $8,000 saved up, and it's like, wow, that's amazing, but it's not enough, right? You need some more. And so it's really, really created a lot of buzz, Jim. Real estate agents are super excited about it because it opens the doors to many buyers. Loan originators are really getting involved with loaning the program, the ins and outs. I mean, it's really, you have to know how to get it done, right? So you do have to have some level of expertise to get it done smoothly.
I haven't had one problem with you, Mike, when we've used these programs over the years. And you know what I don't know, because Mike handles this so well, and this is what's great about our team of working together, is that I don't even know the extra paperwork you have to do to go through that program. It's like, it's all mysterious to me, like behind the curtains, the wizard behind the curtains, because Mike handles it all with my buyers, and I don't even know how that happens. Is there any extra hoops you have to jump through or anything?
They've actually made it pretty seamless. Like so this is run out of Florida Housing, which is a state-based organization, and they have been doing down payment assistance for a long time. As a matter of fact, Johnny, when you did your $10,000 down payment assistance back, when did you buy your home? 2014?
Yeah.
Right? It was the same organization. So they have been at it for a while, and they have really tried to make it as seamless as possible. So the consumer, there's only one thing the consumer has to do in addition to signing some additional paperwork. They've got to do a homeowner education course, which is like a 2-hour thing online. You knock it out. As far as additional paperwork or hoops to jump through, there's not really a lot, Jim. So we're underwriting it in-house. You don't have to send it off to be underwritten at some other organization. Basically, they say, hey, you guys are professionals. Go ahead and approve the loan. And then they kind of, they've made it really not too hard. Too hard.
So, and you can use pretty much any type of conforming loan, right? FHA, VA, conventional.
USDA, that's right.
USDA loans, which
That's
are the agricultural loans. So you can use any of those type of loans with this, right?
Yeah, I mean, the VA one, think about this. So you can get, one of the biggest benefits of the VA loan is a 0% down payment, right? So you're not having down payment, but you do have closing costs, right? And what we call prepaid items. So like your first year of homeowners insurance, right? You got to pay that up front.
That's that whole 5% right there.
Yeah, I know, right? There you go.
I could eat up a big chunk of it for sure. But if you get the 5% Hometown Heroes funds, you can basically buy the house with zero cash out of pocket, which is pretty amazing.
Our last customer, he ended up choosing I don't want to get into it, but he chose not to use his VA loan. He used a regular loan. But if he had used the VA loan and he used this program based on his purchase price, he might have had he would have definitely come out where he paid less than first-class security for rent.
Sure.
Like what his rental rate was at that point, at that exact moment, he had to pay less than first-class security. So his lease was coming up anyway, so he was going to have to pay first-class security.
Yeah.
So you could have, you could get into a house. If you're a renter right now, you can get into the house possibly because of this down payment assistance program and it not affect you too much.
Yeah. And let's say for whatever reason, you have zero money, right? Like you don't have any money. You could still somehow, if you're eligible for Hometown Heroes and you can negotiate a credit from the seller, that might be enough to get you there.
Johnny. Can you do that? Can you get a credit from the seller?
Yeah.
You can get so you can get money back from the seller and still get the state money.
Yes.
And what's the maximum amount you can get from the seller usually? It's usually
So
5%, right?
Well, no. So it depends on the loan type,
Mhm.
and it may depend on your down payment. So traditionally, like FHA, the max is 6%, which is a very
Oh, that's
large
right.
number. Yeah, I mean
Mhm.
that's $6,000 of help for every 100,000 of your purchase price, right? So if you're buying a $300,000 home, that's $18,000.
Yeah.
That max you can get. So it's very
From the
difficult to
seller.
get that from the seller.
Mhm.
Conventional, the traditional is 3%, but that's only if you're doing less than 10% down. So if you're doing 10% down or more, you can get up to 6%
Wow.
on a conventional loan.
So there, and
And VA is something like 4%. It's kind of weird.
Yep. And if you have a good negotiator, hint, hint,
Yes.
that can help you find the right house and the right seller that's willing to give you the benefits.
And you know what? The thing with that is like some people need that, which makes it very easy to make offers and negotiate because you say, hey, listen, here's my offer. And I need, $7,000 credit because I need it. And if the seller is unwilling to do that, then you just know you move on to the
You
next
just
home.
move on, and then you come back 2
Yeah.
weeks later when they haven't sold the house and
Yeah.
go, our offer still stands.
Yeah. Oh, I should.
But now we need 7,200.
Yeah, exactly. And we're paying less for the house.
I was going to say one of the other benefits of the Hometown Heroes program specifically is the rates are probably either equal or better than they would be if you didn't have the program.
Now,
So the
that's been
rates are
Mike's little
favorable.
secret. That's been Mike's little secret lately. You've actually, in order to help your buyers, sometimes you're asking them to use the down payment assistance program, even if they don't necessarily need it, because they're locking in for a while there. They could actually lock in
at a better rate.
Yeah.
And like,
isn't that cool?
In years past, and there's a lot of down payment assistance options, even through Florida Housing, they have different options, but there's also some national ones. And traditionally for me, if you didn't need it, I didn't like it because you had a penalty on your rate, right? So your rate would be higher under the program than if you did it without.
So it doesn't make a ton of
And
sense.
so I would say, listen, if you have family or you can put the funds together, you can get it from the seller, like go that angle because you're going to have a penalty. But since the advent of Hometown Heroes, those rates have been favorable. And especially as our market has shifted, those rates have remained favorable. And so that thing that always caught I didn't like about it now has gone away. And it's almost better to have the program. Now, what's the drawback with the program? This is something it is free money, but it also stays attached to the home, right? These are not forgivable loans. Now, you never make a payment on them. They're 0%. If you own this home for the life of the loan, 30 years, then you don't pay it back.
Well, that's not true. You have to pay it at the end of the life of the loan.
No, you don't.
You don't?
No.
Oh,
If
I
you
thought
sell
you
or
had to pay it at
refinance,
the end.
right?
I
No.
thought even if you do the whole term for the 30
That's right.
years,
That's
it's
right.
forgiven at that point.
That's right.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if you refinance somewhere in there,
So if you refinance before the 30 years, you got to pay it back.
Right.
And if you sell the home, you got to pay it back. And if you move out of the
That's
home,
right.
and this is the one that's really painful. If you move out of the home, that becomes repayable.
So if you turn it into a rental property, because this has
Yeah,
to be for
yeah.
primary residence. The program is Live Local. It's for workforce housing so that we can make housing more affordable. So they're really focusing on homesteaded people
Yeah.
that are going to be living there full time. So once you leave, you're supposed to take
it's-
care of the 15,000.
And it's definitely something to consider, right? Now, the way I explain it to most people is you kind of think about it as equity position in the home that you just don't have, right? So if you're in the future, you're thinking about refinancing, Johnny, you have to plug that whatever you took. Let's say it was $12,000, right? You have to plug that $12,000 into your loan to value on your refinance to make sure that you can cover it. You have enough equity to do that.
Sure.
If you go to sell the home, you just know that $12,000 is going off back to Florida Housing, right? So you just keep it in mind, right? Just don't forget about it. And I don't know if anything is changing on that as far as the forgivability nature of it. Like this program, the law takes effect on July 1st, right? So where it opens up to eligible, all eligible Florida residents is for loans that are reserved with Florida Housing July 1st and forward. So how quickly can you close after reserving? I think it's probably something like 2 weeks, right? So leading up to into June, you could be not eligible second half of
That's
June
right.
and then eligible the first half of July, right?
So timing is everything. So you got to give us a call so that we can put you in the right situation for your circumstances. Sometimes you have to move forward anyway because of your life situation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. But we'll try to set you up to take advantage of the program.
And I was going to say they funded it at 100 million, which is the same amount of funding it had this past year when it was only open to certain professions.
And they used 80% of that
and
money.
so far they've used most of it, right? There's still a good chunk left. So definitely, if you're in the profession right now, talk to your lending professional about Hometown Heroes, right? And there's a whole list of professions, whatever. You can call me and we can go through.
Yeah,
it.
we have a list. There's 130 something professions.
So, but the question is, how long is that money going to last?
That
right?
money's
Once
going to
it's
go.
gone, it's gone.
We've gone through this many times throughout the years with these down payment assistance programs, the good ones.
Yeah.
They go fast. You have to be prepared, guys. We're always here to give you good information. If you're thinking about buying a house and you're thinking that this program can help you, don't wait around. You've got to get going now to get everything lined up, because this money, I believe, is going to go very, very fast. People need this money. I think it's a good thing for the community overall. It's even good for sellers because it's going to help the values. I know that this isn't on a bad, there's a cross-cutting purposes here, but it's even good for sellers because it brings more buyers into the
throws more buyers
group.
into the mix.
So this is a good thing for everybody if it's used correctly. Now, I want to ask you two things. Mike, did you want to say something? Because I got two questions for you.
I was going to say, like, they wrote into the law the word evergreen. So it is intended to renew, right? So it's going to get new rounds of funding. The question is that going to happen before a 1-year anniversary? So is it 100 million for the year, or are they going to fund it before that?
And we've seen that in the past where they've refunded the program
midway through or something like that.
And
I think that's possible, but you have to assume that it's based on the health of the Florida economy, because this is a boon, right? This is a boon for home buyers and for Florida residents. Like, hey, you can actually live the dream of home ownership. So the spirit of it is we want the funds to be available to anybody who's eligible, right? Anybody who qualifies. And for the money to run out and be like, hey, they got to wait till next year, you could see that happening, but you could also see like, oh, we're going to refund it. But if money gets tight for whatever reason, right, the economy starts getting, hit, then you have to think that this is one of those programs that may lose funding or may not get that additional funding.
We only got a couple, like 2 or 3 minutes. I want to ask you two quick questions. The first question is really easy. Are there any limits of where you can live in the Florida Hometown Heroes program and the Live Local that we know of at this point? You could buy anywhere you want.
That's right. There's going to be limitations on the type of housing you're buying. So like manufactured homes built before a certain year would not be eligible. Multifamily homes, depending on your program, may or may not be eligible. But as far as location, no. Anywhere
single family condo townhome traditionally
absolutely.
would be okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another thing. And the other thing I wanted to mention is what happens when people say, I probably make too much money for this program?
It's possible that you do. It is an income, at least in its current form, there are income restrictions. So you can't make above a certain dollar amount as a household, right? So not even just the person on the loan, but every working adult in the household, we have to count their income, and you have to be under the threshold. Now, with Hometown Heroes, it's a pretty healthy limit.
I think a single person is a little over 100,000 a year.
Yeah, I mean, I can bring it up, and it's county based, so like every county is going to have a different. Every county has a different what they call AMI, or area median income.
Yeah, let's just stick with Palm Beach County because it's very similar to Broward and Dade.
Okay. So the income limit right now, and this may change on July 1st, right? They haven't come out with all of the details.
Right.
Like, it would be great if they just lifted the income restrictions. One of the reasons for that, Johnny, like you talk about 35,000. Well, how do you get 35,000 if it's 5% of the loan amount that you're borrowing, right? It's a $700,000 loan.
Yep.
Right. And if there's an income restriction, say it's like $120,000 or whatever for a family, if you're making $120,000 as a family, can you qualify for the resulting payment on a $700,000 loan?
Probably not.
And probably not. The answer is, so how do you get to 35,000? It's tough, right? It's going to be tough, but 35,000 is the limit moving forward. So maybe the income limits will increase and increase so that becomes eligible, right?
Yeah, where at least they kind of connect.
Yeah,
make
exactly.
a little more sense.
It's even hard to get 25,000 right now, which is the
Yes,
current
it
limit,
is,
right? Because of the income restriction.
It's
So
a $500,000 loan. That's
yeah. Right, exactly. So I'm trying to get to the income limits. All right, John, are you having, Jim? I'll see if you're right or not.
I have to have it right because I'm pulling it off the floridahousing.org.
Yeah.
Can't get better than that, right?
So
go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say, if you're doing FHA, VA, or conventional, so this is everything but USDA loans, and we don't have a lot of USDA in South Florida, but they do exist in Florida. The limit is 100 for Palm Beach County. $138,000 is the limit right now as a household.
That's household limit.
Household limit.
Okay.
That's for Hometown Heroes.
And then single is 105, right?
Not with Hometown Heroes. Jim.
What's the 105 number then?
You're looking at a
different... USDA.
You're looking at USDA.
I'm being dummy. That's why I have Mike here.
Yeah,
he's the mortgage guy. I'm not.
So what you have to do, like if you're a 2-person household, even if you're the only one on the loan qualifying, so there's a lot of reasons that could be the case. You have to look at both adult earners and add up their total income, and they do it on kind of like best case scenario, meaning like if you have a bonus, we don't count the bonus. Like if you don't have a history of that, but Florida Housing says, hey, they made a bonus. We want to count that towards a household income. So you just really need a sharp loan originator, making sure he's watching out for these types of things.
What if you have a 24-year-old that moves back in with you and works full time? Do you have to count that income?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. You have to count everybody.
Might have to kick the kid out.
Yep.
Have to.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you could kick them out. It's probably a good reason to do it. Like, listen, we're going, you're staying. You're not coming. Here's one of the kickers. This is actually a funny story. Like, if you're married, even if you don't live together, you have to count your spouse's income.
Even if you don't live together.
Even if you don't live together.
But you're married.
Yeah. So which is, people are separated, right? And they're like, so I actually had that come up, not with Hometown Heroes, but with a different program. And they had been separated for years and just hadn't gone through the motions of the divorce. And I said, well, listen, if we want to do this program, hate to say it, but you're going to have to go and get divorced.
That's right. DIVORCE, baby.
And we were kind of last minute. This is one of those, Jim, you said earlier, like, Mike, we never have any problems. And this is one of those where something came out and shocked me. Like, I didn't read that part of the guideline. I'm usually pretty into reading guidelines. Like, I like knowing that stuff and I retain it.
Yep.
And somehow I missed that. If you're married, but even though you don't live together, you still have to count your spouse's income, which is completely illogical. It doesn't make any sense. It's not part of your household. It's not part of your income. Whatever. That's the way they did it. So I said, listen, you're gonna have to do it quickly. And so she found a lawyer, and she's like 3 days they were divorced. I mean, it was
it worked out.
Yeah.
That was good.
And it wasn't like a sad thing. It
Right.
It was actually kind of like, oh, finally
we're gonna get it done.
They just didn't do it because they didn't do it.
And it's the cost, and it's like, I got other things in my life that are important. It wasn't critical.
It wasn't a priority until it was, right?
And I say it wasn't sad. I don't know. Maybe they shed a tear or something.
Long ago.
Yeah.
So this is a great government program that's already out there for 130 different professions in Florida, but now it's going to be open to everybody. If you don't take advantage of this program quickly and have a good plan, you have a plan to fail. Okay, that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
So you got to give us a call now so that we can get you into the chute and lined up and ready to go when the doors open, that you're going to be in the front of the line to get this process going. So please, all you got to do is go to floridatalkrealestate.com. Jimmy, we're not going to take the 10:30 break if you're okay.
Yep.
Because I want to spend time with the home hardening program.
All right, before you do, floridatalkrealestate.com, your one-stop real estate shop, 888-973-7828 hotline. You can call it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you don't remember it, didn't write it down, remember floridatalkrealestate.com. You'll find the hotline there, and the new chat with Jim feature as well. floridatalkrealestate.com.
Thank you, Johnny. Now, before we start with Ross and the home hardening program, I want to just mention one thing. Me and Mike had talked about this last night for show prep, and somebody, Matt, had put a note in Facebook saying, or YouTube saying, what about the people with higher credit scores being penalized for FHA loans or Freddie loans? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I told him that we'd be talking about that at the end of the show. So we're going to just talk about that. There's a rumor right now going around that if you have a higher credit score, you're going to be paying more money for your mortgage to offset risk for people that have lower credit scores, and it's getting people kind of upset.
I've been following it for the last couple of weeks. It is if you got to pay attention to when you're really reading news and when you're reading opinion.
Yeah.
That's the big hurdle for many people consuming stuff.
And we're going to get that to the end just to do a myth buster with Mike. We'll
Right.
do myth busting with Mike. But first, let's talk about the home hardening program. So, Ross, with the home hardening program, do you kind of, from an insurance agent perspective, do you mind talking about an overview of the program, or do you want me to do it?
Oh, let's let Ross do it. Come on.
Wait.
Go,
All right,
Ross.
I'll go.
I'm sorry.
So you're referring to the My Safe Florida Home program.
That's correct.
And what that is, it's a two-part program. The first part is it allows everybody in Florida to get a wind mitigation report. And a wind mitigation report is an inspection that's done on your home that allows you to qualify for discounts on the wind portion of the premium. So everybody can go get one of those. Part of that inspection, they will tell you what you can do to upgrade that report to qualify for more discounts, to make your home stronger in hurricanes. Now, the second part is, okay, it's a grant. It's a 2-to-1 grant. That's a reimbursement grant. So you have to spend your money, and then you'll be reimbursed $2 for every dollar that you spent. Now, that is only applicable to people in the wind-borne debris region of Florida, which there's a tiny bit in like the North Florida Panhandle, and then it kind of is the coast of like kind of just Tampa coast and maybe like Merritt Island-ish coast, and it kind of comes in towards the center, rides the coast down, and then everything kind of below Lake Okeechobee. So it's kind of a
on the east and west side.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're in that zone. Our primary counties.
Mostly. We are in that zone, and those people, everybody that lives in that zone, is qualified to receive that grant money. And what that grant money does is you can upgrade your roof covering, improve your roof deck attachment, improve your roof to wall connection, get a secondary water barrier. And then I think what's probably going to be the most utilized aspect of it is upgrading your windows and doors to impact resistant.
Yes, and with this program, you get a tax break for the windows and doors that you buy. You don't have to pay taxes on that. So
There's no state sales tax on the impact doors and windows.
Right. So you get a discount on that. And there's a couple of things about this, though. First of all, with the program, you can't pick your wind mitigation inspector. The state assigns you one. So you got to go to the state and say that you want a wind mitigation, and then they place you with one of their people that they've hand selected. So you can't choose the person that's going to do the report.
That's a good thing, though.
Yeah, not necessarily bad. I don't
thing.
mean that as a bad thing. These are some frequently asked questions that people I've read about, that they had questions about this. So I'm not saying it's negative, but you need to know that.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Sure.
So it was 3 days ago. I get a knock on my door. And here's this guy standing there in his yellow vest, and he's got his clipboard, and he's going around. We're doing work in your neighborhood. We can get you impact windows and doors. And I'm like, oh, I got, as you can see, I got them. I'm good. Well, how old's your roof? We're going down. And I'm getting more and more of these like type approaches, knock at the doors. So I kind of feed them some rope. I want to see what we're going down. And I'm like, well, it sounds like you're talking about the my Safe Florida Home program, right? And his eyes kind of light up a little bit. I was like, so how does this work? He's like, well, there's no money out of your pocket. It's all government. He's like, it's all grant based. He's like, we'll take care of everything. I was like, so I'm like, I don't know a lot of it, but I know a little bit. I'm like, so you guys pay for it and then you get reimbursed for the program. So on this 2-to-1 reimbursement aspect, is there a legal kind of loophole where companies can pay for it on behalf of a homeowner and get the reimbursement? Can you sign that off for them? Because I feel like that's what they're fishing for.
I don't know. I don't think so, because you as the homeowner have to go and create an account, apply. And then once you have to apply, there's a lot of little things as far as the application goes. You have to show like how much money you'll save on your insurance. You have to show that what you're going to do, and then it has to be a program approved contractor to
Right.
actually do the work, and then you have to actually submit like your receipts. Now, I think on
So
a
what
like
I'm
a
wondering-
lower income level, the contractor might be able to do that, but I believe it's all still like a state approved contract.
It
I
is
wonder if the
based on
state-approved-
income.
I wonder if
So
the state approved contractors are going out and fishing though, and because I asked him, I'm like, so you have to apply? He goes, well, we do it all for you. And I was really fascinated by it. But again, the way his eyes lit up when I mentioned the website and the program, it was like he was almost like, "Oh, you know about it, huh?"
Yeah.
Like he was worried in a way. It was weird. The exchange got awkward at that point. If you can feel the difference, the vibe.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I was like, well, I gotta remember to ask Ross. I'm so glad we're going down here because if they can legally do that, that's great. And I can see there's an ease there that people might be willing to give up their 2-to-1 reimbursement, but they may also not know, right?
Yeah.
How the program totally works. Because if you don't have the cash, it's one thing to get a company and say, oh, let's do it. You're going to front the cost for me. You can take my reimbursement. But if you have the cash, why would you ever cough up on a $2-to-1 spent reimbursement? Knowledge is power, obviously.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I from what I see, you as the consumer have to go register. And I mean, maybe they'll just register in your name and create a fake account for you and do it. But I don't think that's the way you're supposed to be doing it.
Done, right.
You know,
Right.
I don't know anybody who's actually done it yet. You know, like I said, I think the only thing that's really going to be taken advantage of is going to be kind of the impact windows and doors.
That's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge savings.
Huge.
Absolutely.
yeah, it does help.
What did you say? What the limit was on it? 2-to-1 up to
Up to
10,000.
10,000. So
Thank
you
you,
got to
Mike.
spend 5 and then you'll get 10 back. So
Right,
So
and you
that
might
could
end up
be-
spending more than 5, but you're going
You're
to
only
get
gonna
back
get
10
10,
back
yeah.
no matter what. So
That's
if
what I
you
was gonna
spend
say,
30,
like,
you're going to get 10
if
back.
you're doing a new roof, let's say you got a tile roof or you wanted to
Mhm.
put a metal roof on, I mean, that's probably going to be in excess of
So it's not going to
15,000
give you a new
total.
roof.
Nope.
It won't give you a new roof.
Oh,
It's not going to give you a new. What it can do is while you're putting on a new roof, you can upgrade maybe from like shingle to tile. or
That was
shingle,
my question. So one of the
'cause
things
it's
it
it
says
says
that they do
upgrading the roof covering from code to code plus or
yeah, but like what do you call that water
the
barrier
secondary
thing?
water barrier.
Secondary water barrier that they now recommend that you have on your roof, and a lot of people don't from years past because they didn't do that back then. So if they recommend a second
Secondary water barrier.
secondary water,
SWB.
if they do recommend secondary water barrier, but in order to do that, you got to replace your roof.
So I was
So-
looking at some of the information that they have,
Mhm.
and it says that they can do it on the inside under the in the attic.
Huh.
Now I've never seen a wind mitigation
Never
report that
seen that.
has it like
Yeah.
that, but that's what it said. That's one of
I
the
thought-
options.
I thought the third nails would be a big deal too. The third nail kind of thing for the strapping. I thought that would be a big boon to people, a big benefit to people to go ahead and better strap their houses.
Yeah,
with
but
this
we
program.
don't really see, I don't really see that too much these days, that much anymore.
As far as savings,
I don't see it too often in general. And then the savings hasn't been that significant.
It's worth-
It's
make it
like
worth more.
$400 and you're going to spend
Mhm.
1,200,
Mhm.
so, but, that is an option to do. And that you can spend that money and it does qualify for the grant.
And here's a couple other things people need to know. If you've got steel panels across Miami-Dade County approved steel panels across your whole house and all your openings, you're not going to be able to upgrade to impact windows or some other type of stuff because all your
You're already
all your
hardened.
openings are already hardened, correct? That's what I read, that you can't like upgrade from steel to impact windows.
That I don't know.
Yeah, that's why the inspectors are going out. That's why they want state approved inspectors to make sure that if you already have protection for all your openings and they meet code, they're not going to give you extra money to upgrade it to that. That's what I read.
Seems like an easy
Um,
one. You just lose some of your panels.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. You just
Yeah,
throw
you
your
just
panels
let your
out.
panels go
yeah,
away.
I don't
they
know what
did,
you're
right?
talking about. I never
I
had
don't
these.
la 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 la.
Yeah, right.
So
I mean,
You may have lost them through the years anyway. I mean, how often when it comes time to put your panels up, you're like, holy cow, what happened? Where's this stuff?
Yeah, but I mean, it wouldn't help you out on your insurance to go from panels to impact windows.
That's correct.
But I don't know about that qualifying for the program.
Now,
I didn't
there's
see
a
that.
couple other eligibility factors about this My Safe Florida Home program, which is also the insured value of the home. It can't be right now more than $500,000 for the insured value.
Right. Your dwelling coverage cannot be more than 500,000.
Okay.
So that's going to leave you kind of in that 2,000 square foot house range.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. So if you have a McMansion, you're probably not going to qualify for this program.
Right. If you're in that 3,000 square foot range, your dwelling coverage is going to be over that 500. It should be, but
and it's
I was going to say there's still tons of homes that are under that.
Oh yeah.
Although the more
it
I'm hearing
should be.
about this, the more I think that whoever wrote this thing was it seems like it was hodgepodge together, right? Like kind of.
And there's
here's the idea.
Well,
oh, but wait a second.
Right.
Well,
you can't do this.
There's
You
a
can't do
couple
this.
other exceptions also, only for homesteaded property. So you can't use this for like investment property, secondary home. You can't do it for that. You have to show, and you can't even you have to show a homestead exemption. You can't just claim it's your homestead.
Okay.
Feels reasonable.
You actually have the
I like that.
exemption, but that's important to know. The other thing is if you started working on your house and before this program came out, or you're just finding out about it, it's like, oh, I've already bought my impact windows. I'm just going to go ahead and apply for the program. They won't give you a credit for stuff you already bought.
Yeah.
You have to go through the process.
You have
in
to
the
apply
state.
first.
Yeah, you have to apply
because
first.
they have to approve the contractors.
Exactly. So, and then there's a whole process about how you get the money. I don't want to get into that, but we're going to put out on Facebook on Monday. I'm sorry I didn't do it before the show, but I was very busy yesterday. So I'm going to put out the My Safe Home Florida program. I always want to say it the other way.
Florida Home.
Yeah, but I think it's My Safe Home Florida program.
Oh, okay.
I think
My Safe Florida Home.
it is Florida
Florida
Home?
Home.
Okay. So I'm going to have that website connected. Now I'm only going to put out the government websites for this. There's a lot of advertising out there. I had to go through 20, 30 articles sometimes to find the real information and not people just trying to spam you and trying to collect your data.
Yeah, and I don't want to come across too negative, but that's even the knock at the door type situations. Like, really investigate this stuff. Do your legwork.
Yes.
Really do.
Yes, you really need to do that. I mean, we are Florida, the home of scams, right? We are the home of scams. So you got to make sure that you do things in the proper way. It does sound like there's a process to collect your money. It isn't just like, oh, you did the work here. They have to confirm that the work was done properly to code, that you've paid. You've already
They send
paid
somebody
them.
out to do a reinspection.
Yes, and they do re-inspections. So it's not mess around. It isn't some woo-woo-y thing. They
It's not
really want to
PPP
know.
money.
No, it isn't. You're right, right. So, Jared could tell you horror stories about that. Oh my gosh, it's kind of crazy. So,
FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. It's your one-stop real estate shop. If you need the pros, experts in their field, you get them all at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. You got the hotline and, of course, the new Chat with Jim feature as well. 888-973-7828. It's answered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by a live body. You'll find that number at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
thank you, Johnny. One of the other things that we're going to be talking about in more detail, but we haven't talked about much in a while, is the student loan relief program. Okay. We're going to get the law office of Paola Krasker on here soon. We've been waiting for Mally to set an appointment with us because we think it's really important to bring this up again. Mike, so the way the student loan, what we've done for years through the law office of Paola Krasker, because Paul is one of the few private attorneys, law firms that are able to help people go into this nonprofit program because of Paul's reputation and his work in the past. The federal government has said, yeah, you can process these programs for us. These programs, these student loan programs, there's a whole bunch of them out there, but mostly they're income driven or income based programs. So you're not paying your student loan debt that you owe based on what you owe broke out over, amortized over 15 or 20 years or whatever. You're paying based on what you can afford based on a federal government mathematical formula. It isn't like when you were doing home loan modifications That was you didn't know what was going to happen. You had to go to the bank. You hoped the bank was going to work with you to get the loan mod and do all that. That isn't the way this government program, the student loan government program, works. You plug in to find out if you have a government-backed loan. If you do, they figure out how much money you make, what your expenses are, and based on that, they have a calculated mathematical formula to tell you how much you should be paying every month. Many of our people are paying a fraction, if not nothing, every month that have gone through that program. We mentioned earlier this year, we had a person named Amy who came to us over 5 years ago. She was paying, I think, $580 a month when she came to us. She was a at-home mom who wasn't working anymore. For the last 5 years, she's made no payments to that student loan at all, nothing. And all those 5 years that she's paid nothing are counting to the time for the expiration date of the loan. So we figured out that the $580 a month, I think that they've saved.
It's like almost $35,000.
No, I think about $35,000 in payments roughly over the 5 years that she's been in this program. You do have to apply every year. So if you're thinking that student loan debt is just dragging you down and you're reading all this stuff in the federal government about how Congress wants to take the student loan stuff away and the president wants to have the student loan stuff, and you start hearing all that flotsam jetsam, those are politicians. Why don't you just come to us and use the programs that exist and get relief right now instead of worrying about the stupid politicians to help you out? I mean, the programs are there. The programs are there right now to help you. You don't have to wait for them to make a decision by the U.S. Supreme Court. They're here right now to help you.
And have been.
You've been talking, I was gonna say, you've been talking about it for years. And like, as a, I'm very fortunate where I don't have any student loans, but I mean, the first time I was in studio and you talked about it, that would have been the first thing I would have done is picked up the phone and called Paul.
It's so crazy. And Mike, let's talk about how this could affect your purchasing power when you're a buyer. Many times Mike will go through the buyers when he's going to try to qualify for a loan. And if you see that they have student loan debt, it's hurting their debt to income ratio. What do you do when you see that?
Yeah, I'll say like there's a big difference between having your student loan deferred, meaning you don't have to start repaying it until sometime in the future. Maybe it's 12 months, 18 months. And so you have a zero payment because it's in deferral status. There's a difference between that and having a zero payment when you're in an income-based or income-driven repayment program. And the first scenario, we have to calculate a payment. So even if you're currently paying zero because it's deferred, we still calculate a payment. And depending on the program, it's either 1% of your balance or it's 0.5%, right? So if you have, a $20,000 student loan, Johnny, you can do the math. It's either a $200 payment or a $100 payment. And that definitely affects your ability to qualify for, the max mortgage payment.
Even though they're not paying it.
Even though they're deferred, they're paying zero, we have to calculate a payment.
Yep.
Now, if you are in one of the programs and you have a calculated payment that is zero, guess what? We get to use zero, right? If your payment is 50, we get to use 50, even if that's less than 0.5% or less than 1%, depending on the program. So,
and let me ask real quick. So I get my home loan. I'm in the program and I'm deferred. I'm not in deferred. I'm in the program. I have a $0 payment.
Yes.
I get my home loan. I move in. The next year my income went up and I now actually have a payment.
Yeah.
Nothing happens to my mortgage payment, does it?
No. You with the way mortgages work is we look at your income and your debt at the time that you're qualifying. So likewise, you could change jobs the year after you buy your home and you're not going to have any implications on your mortgage. As long as, there's no implications.
Right.
Hopefully you make your payments.
As long as you make your payments. Yeah. As long as you make your payments.
So student loans, and I said 20,000, like that's a pretty common number for student loans. I see numbers all over the map. I've seen 6-figure student loan balances, right? And so those payments, if you have to calculate 1%, it's pretty much pricing you out of the home that you really should be able to buy because the payment that we calculate is so high. So not only is this program beneficial in that you're putting yourself on a repayment that will satisfy the loan at some point, right? Forgiveness is a huge component of this. So you could be paying $50 a month, which might be more than your deferred zero, but $50 a month, and you pay that for the period of time you have to. Maybe it's 20 years, 10 years, whatever it is.
Public employees are 10, and then
Yeah.
other people have 20, 25. It depends.
So even though you're making a payment on it, the forgiveness at the end is huge, right? And so if you're not in the program, you're kind of just, you can defer it, but that doesn't take care of it. You can wait and hope that the government is going to, satisfy the loans of some. They're going to do that anyway, right? Or they're not. They will or they won't.
And
right?
in Amy's situation, that $580 that she's not paying, it's not affecting her credit. It all counts. It's interest isn't accruing on the loan.
Yeah.
None of that is happening. It isn't kicking the can down the road. She's actually knocking off equity that she or not equity, but principal that she owns on the money that she's borrowed. Now, I just did a quick calculation. A couple days ago, I used your app, Mike, the Quick Cal app, and I figured out that every $5,000 right now at today's interest rates, borrowing $5,000 is about $35. Does that sound right?
I use 30 right now. So
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. $30.
Okay, so if you did 580 divided by 30, that's 19, right? And then you times that by 5,000, and her purchasing power for that $580 would be $96,000.
Yeah, that's huge.
Of extra purchasing power she had just because she got her student loan debt from 580 down to 0.
I mean, if you're paying $500 on a student loan, that is the equivalent. Let's say you're, two-person, whatever, but a 2 income earning household, you've got 2 car payments. So guess what? You just added a 3rd car payment, right? And what does that do to your ability to afford your mortgage? And so it's that's a huge amount of buying power that you lost because of that $500 payment on the debt side. But even $100 is big, right? Make it easy, Jim. $100 is basically $15,000 of buying power.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So it's huge.
Yeah, but the reality is, even if you're like, look, I own a home, but I'm still interested in this program.
yeah.
Florida Talk Real Estate.
Oh, yes.
That could be $600 your family gets to spend elsewhere. Yeah.
And here's something even better. Some parents that took loans out for their kids can get this program.
Right.
So even if you took out the loan for the kids, there are programs out there for you to help if you're struggling with the payment that you use to get the loan for your child.
Yeah.
So there's like really great programs. Think about all the great, if people called up and started using all the programs we just talked about today, think about how many thousands and thousands of dollars people can save.
Oh, sure.
Just from these programs we talked today.
I'm surprised Paul doesn't say, hey, quit talking about the student loan program because we're getting inundated with phone calls and we can't keep up.
And you'd be surprised.
Everybody should be calling.
And you'd be surprised at how many times we have to chase people once they call about the program. People believe that it's not real when we know it's real. We proved it over and over and over again, right? They think it's not real. Or they call up their lender directly, and the lender puts them in a program that looks identical to the federal government program, but is not.
Nope.
The interest is accruing. Penalties may be accruing.
No forgiveness.
No forgiveness. But they're giving you that payment that the federal student loan modification payment will give you. So you think you're getting the benefit, and they're like, oh, I don't have to do anything. They're just taking care of it for me. Really? Do you think that the student loan lenders are going to be your friend when that's how they make their money, is the profit, that the interest that you're paying them?
Yeah, and they use the same term. They'll say income-based repayment or income-driven repayment because nobody's, there's no trademark on that term, so the private lenders can use it and say, hey, yeah, we'll put you into the income-driven repayment program, no problem.
Yep.
But it's not the government one that has forgiveness at the end.
Now,
that's a huge difference.
We've only got, I want to just
2
go
minutes.
over this one thing before we leave, okay?
A minute.
The one thing, is that a Keller
true?
Williams thing?
Yeah, it is a Keller Williams thing. Is it true that if you're buying a conventional loan in today's market, that you're paying a penalty for having a good credit score so that they can use that extra money to offset people that have lower credit scores that are getting loans? Is that true or not? Because that's what everybody's talking about lately.
I can't give you a black or white answer to that, the way you frame that question. I'll say the headlines I saw, Jim, was, is it true that higher credit scores are going to get a worse rate than lower credit scores? That was the headline. I got great credit. Why am I getting a worse rate than the guy who's got crappy credit? Okay, that is not true. All right.
Okay.
So there's some whole nuance to this thing. Now, if you say, are higher credit score borrowers paying a higher penalty compared to what they're paying before? And is that money being used to offset the lower credit? I don't know. I guess you could kind of make an argument that that's what's happening, because there's a chart, there's a matrix, right? You get a little penalty based on your credit and your loan to value, and the penalty got a little bit higher on the higher credit tiers and a little bit lower on the lower credit tiers. I mean, you weren't penalizing the lower credit guys as much as you were before, and you were penalizing the higher credit guys a little bit more than before.
So if we didn't have the private mortgage going down, though, the insurance, we're not even having this conversation, right?
Huh?
With the PMI numbers going down?
No, because that has nothing to do with that.
But I think that's how this gets born. I think
but it can't be, because that's for FHA, and we're talking about conventional loans.
It's ridiculous.
Right? Hey, I just came up with a new segment. Mortgage myth busting with Mike.
Yeah.
How about that? Mortgage myth busting with Mike.
Every week we should do it.
Yes.
Here's the headline, guys. Don't tank your credit because you think you're going to get a better rate. Please don't do that. Please do not do that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Of
Yeah.
all that is holy.
Yeah.
Mike Rauch, mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Have a great weekend.
Yes. Awesome. You too, man.
Ross Komarinetz with Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. Great to see you. Have an awesome weekend.
You do the same.
Jimmy D, Jim DePolo with the Florida Home Pros team, Keller Williams Innovations. Hope you have an awesome weekend.
Thank you. I'm going out with Shane. I'm looking at an investment property in downtown Lake Worth. I'm excited. I think it's a good deal. I can't wait to see it.
Timothy's going to hang out. Greek and Joe, they're going to come in and squeeze out a sports show. We appreciate you being with us. We'll be back at it next Saturday. 2 hours of infotainment. Florida Talk Real Estate. Is it.com. Know it, use it, love it, and share it. And it's always a 2 hour fest of infotainment on a Saturday morning right here on Real Radio.